There we are. Okay. Welcome everyone to your Libra New Moon. Whew, okay. This is being live streamed Wednesday, October 6th. This is, oh gosh, okay. Mercury's retrograde, and I have been so greatly inarticulate, so forgive me for all of my little kerfuffles throughout this live streamed event. Afterwards, I will go on over to Patreon and we do the 12 sign by sign breakdowns for how this new moon is going to affect every single zodiac sign. And we pull tarot for every single zodiac sign. So you can watch for your sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign. If you're watching for your ascendant, hey, Alyssa, Cap, Sun, Scorpio, Moon. Oh, love that combination. Love, love, love it. Welcome. If you're watching for your ascendant, this is going to be more, that's going to be the closest that resonates as far as accuracy and things that you can visibly see happening in your life. If you're watching for your moon sign, it's going to be your, I've had this such a fog. If you're watching for your sun sign, it's your life direction and your masculine energy and where you're going. If you're watching for your moon sign, that's going to be way more subjective, and that could have more of an influence on your living situation, your family, or anything going on with your property or your place of residence, your living situation. Oh, thanks. I love you guys too. Okay, my loves. This new moon in Libra, and it's so funny because I didn't even notice that it was like happening at sunrise until I think like late last night. But that's what I was getting like just in my weekly on YouTube that I do for the astrology. I got sunrise tuning into this psychic energy of this. So I'm calling this breakthrough sunrise because there's so many different cycles starting with this new moon, and you're breaking through a lot of conditioning. You're breaking through a lot of, and you're going to see that. You're going to see the breakthroughs probably, yesterday, today, but really by the full moon on the 20th in Aries in the opposite sign, because of what the moon's going to be doing as it reaches fullness. You're going to encounter a lot of different, it's like freaking Lord of the Rings. The seven friends go off on this adventure and they have to, overcome all these obstacles. And then, you guys know how it goes. But anyway, okay, so this Libra new moon is happening with the sun and the moon and Mars at 13 degrees of Libra. And then Mercury retrograde is at 20 degrees of Libra as well, creating a stellium. And I am a stickler. I count 4 as a stellium. Some other people will say you need 3 planets to create a stellium, but I say 4. So the major aspects or the major energy to talk about with this Libra new moon really has to do with the fact that there's this new, okay, so when the sun and the moon are with Mars, or when any planet is like right up there with the sun, it's called a cazimi, and it's part of the synodic cycle for that planet. It's when I've talked about this in the weekly, but Mars being the general, the warrior, going up to the sun, who's the king, and getting the orders, what we're going to do, how are we going to go about getting what we want. Mercury retrograde in Libra is bringing up something from the past, and this is where you're having this breakthrough moment. Mercury retrograde is, forcing us to go within. This is a very internal new moon. I mean, this is really happening underneath the surface, and how this is going to manifest. There's this energy of that you're going to have to stand your ground a little bit, but you're going to have to do it in a way that is, you're going to need other people. You're going to need other people, and you're going to want other people to be supportive of you and to be really like with you and on your side. So, Mercury retrograde is going to bring those themes up. And this new moon is opposing Chiron in Aries, which says that, I feel like it helps this new moon, even though it's got this cringe element to it. It's got this like cringe factor. So there might be some parts, there will be over the next couple of weeks specifically, that are where we're feeling vulnerable, or we're just not feeling as confident to go out and do something as an independent individual. So it really kind of does fit in with this, abundance of Libra energy, and Mars the ruler of Aries being with the sun and the moon really burnt up, like combust. That's what it's called, combust with the sun. The sun is just burning up this planet. So, you know, I would advise you to take it more as a humbling experience, something you want to transform and alchemize the cringe or the embarrassment or the lack of confidence, like whatever it happens to be, that sore spot. You want to alchemize that lower expression into humility, into something that you can use that can actually empower you to move forward, because this new moon is starting, let's see, one, two, three huge new cycles. And specifically, what I want to talk about now is the Mars cycle, the Mars synodic cycle. This new beginning for us is extremely personal, and it's a personal breakthrough. So the last time we had Mars cazimi with the sun was August 30th, 2019, and the sun was conjunct the moon at about 7 to 10 degrees of Virgo. So what was going on two summers ago, 2019, late last summer, 2019, Mercury was in Virgo, Venus was in Virgo, Mars was in, so they were all really right there together. So it was the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So you're concluding that whole cycle, and that cycle that started August 30th was trining Uranus at 6 degrees of Taurus, retrograde. So you've already been working through a lot of themes having to do with service and having to do with like duty and feeling like you've got to drill down and just like take care of business, like take care of the details. And you could have had to come up against feelings like being overcritical of yourself, or projecting that outward and being critical of other people, maybe even some forms of passive aggressive behavior. Remember, passive aggressive behavior is it's when you're subtly expressing negativity instead of openly addressing it, instead of openly addressing something. It's excuse me, it's a form of negativity. And so that just you've been seeing that with this Virgo and energy ruled by Mercury. So we've been seeing a lot of criticisms in our news cycles the past couple of years, and we've been seeing a lot of uh, drilling down and like a want and a need to get very specific, to fact check, to talk about what facts are and what's a fact and what's not, what's a true statement. And we've been going through it the past couple of years. So that was the last Mars Sun cazimi that sets this whole 2-year tone. And the last time we had a Mars Sun cazimi in Libra was actually 1989. September 30th, 1989, excuse me, 1989. So if you were alive at that time, 32 years ago, ask yourself, where were you? What were you doing? What were some major themes going on in your life? Because at that time, Mars was conjunct the sun in Libra. Mercury was at 26 degrees of Virgo, retrograde, just like it is now. Venus was at 20 degrees in Scorpio. Venus is now in 28 degrees of Scorpio. And Mars was at 7 degrees of Libra. And the Mars Sun conjunction in Libra was squaring Jupiter at 9 degrees of Cancer, Saturn at 7 degrees of Capricorn, Uranus at 1 degree of Capricorn, and Neptune at 9 degrees of Capricorn. So there was this T-square forming. This was pretty epic. So if you were alive September 30th, 1989, you were going through a similar energy that was incredibly stressful for you. You were under immense pressure. You were wanting peace and to get along. You wanted beauty, you wanted grace, you wanted diplomacy, and you were likely not getting it in your life. There could have been a break, a schism. There could have been something really traumatic involving authority, involving maternal issues, involving issues of faith and belief. And again, there was this huge criticism energy with Mercury retrograding in Virgo, no less. So that's some context of the last time we had this energy. The next Mars Sun Kazemi will actually happen November 16th in 2023. That one's going to be in Scorpio. That's going to be at 24 degrees of Scorpio. That's going to oppose Uranus at 20 degrees of Taurus retrograde, sextile Pluto at 28 degrees of Capricorn, trine Neptune at 24 degrees of Pisces retrograde, and square Uranus, goodness gracious, mother of pearl, square Saturn at 0 degrees of Pisces. And that's so important. That anaretic Saturn will just be at the 0th degree of Pisces. That's going to be a big deal, guys. Something's going to happen next year with a change in American leadership. A change in American leadership next year, 2022. It's just like it's like he just goes almost like a what's that? It's like it's almost, she's showing me like a stage with like this heavy velvet curtain, and he kind of just goes like behind this curtain. It's weird. Okay, well, anyway, back to you guys and what this Libra new moon means for you. So what does that mean? Why do we care? What does it mean for us right now? What it means for you right now is that you are embarking on this new, let's just call it a project. Let's just call it a great brand new project in working with other people, in advocating for what's true for you, what is ethically, morally judicious for you and your life, and doing it in a way that is actually making you confront some things that are uncomfortable, that are like cringe. You know, it's if it's like vulnerability, or if it's tact, or if it's diplomacy, whatever it happens to be. And Venus at this time, at the late degrees of Scorpio, 28 degrees of Scorpio, they're trining Neptune retrograding in Pisces. You'll know the truth deep down. Venus going through Scorpio the past few weeks has just been bringing so much truth to the surface in our relationships, in our love situations, in our family situations, in our value systems, and how we're earning a living, how we want to be compensated for the value that we put out, how we want to be known in the world. And so the value system has just been burnt up. So we've been seeing everyone's true value system, who they really are. And, you know, we haven't been, you know, I talked about it before, but that breakdown in the nicey, and we see like the real, you know, what the real person standing in front of us, and in the mirror, where we've really taken a look at ourselves. So all of the things that have been coming up, you know, internally, those really deep, big feelings, we've had to take a really big look at. So now that Venus is literally on Thursday going to, you know, go into Sagittarius, and this trine to Neptune, this is such a beautiful healing of all that. It's a healing, it's forgiveness, it's understanding, it's merging and blending what you've been seeing, the truth of what you've been seeing, with this universal understanding of the human soul, and understanding the divine quality in every single person. That's the highest expression of it. The low expressions of this could definitely, actually, I don't want to get into that. I don't like talking about the lower expressions. So it's negative. But you know, okay, so there's the Neptune, but Venus is also sextiling Pluto and Capricorn. This is what you're starting now is part of the larger revolution of breaking you out of toxic cycles and toxic structures and things that have been subconsciously programming you, and playing out in your life. So, and specifically in everything I just said, in your value systems, in your relationships, in how you're earning your living, how you're creating income for yourself. So this Okay, I forgot the biggest part. You'll have to forgive me. You'll have to there's just been something I had to it's the whole thing. So, the biggest part about this is the connection, the in conjunct to Uranus and Taurus. So, on Monday, when I live streamed about this week ahead, I do Monday to Monday. We're still within that week, and I said Monday to Monday, life's gonna look totally different. So, you have more days to let this play out. This is only Wednesday. I only did this the other day. So, what does it mean? The in conjunct to Uranus means that there's a huge surprise. There's a huge surprise. Hey guys, welcome. There's going to be a huge surprise, and it's going to be something coming out of left field, and it's going to also contribute to you guys breaking yourselves out of something. Now, this Iranian element, we don't know how it's going to manifest. We don't know, where it's going to show up. Actually, we do know where, but we don't know the how. It's the one thing in astrology you cannot use to predict. Strain, you like, great. I know, guys, it's okay. It's okay, you can do it. Here's where the help comes in, though. The help comes in because this new moon is trining both Saturn and Jupiter retrograding in Aquarius. So this cardinal Libran energy is you starting this whole new, not just like a 2-week cycle, 6-month cycle, 2-year cycle. This is something that you're seeing through in a much larger philosophical way. You're starting something with it's like you can hit the reset on a relationship. You can settle a litigious situation that you're involved in. You can start a whole new relationship with yourself, with somebody else. You can start this like a joint venture, like a JV. You can start a new company or corporation in partnership where both of you, and it has an intensely incredible and amazing momentum. This is a really nice new moon. There's the element of surprise, there's the element of the unexpected, but it can also be creative. This Uranus. Sorry, guys. Uranus and Taurus, it can be very creative. But the trines to Jupiter and Saturn, this is giving you dignity, status. This can elevate you if if this is happening like in a career sense for you, or if it's a relationship. There's something about elevating your status in a relationship where you're being seen better or you're being seen in a different light. And the connection to Saturn, you're becoming more mature. You're using these responsible attitudes very judiciously. And the cardinal energy wants to start things new. It needs to do that. So you are starting this on a conscious or on a subconscious level. And the connection to this fixed sign energy, that's a very strong Aquarian energy. That's the seeing it through energy, where whatever you are starting, this easy energy to see it through is there with it. So you want to choose very carefully like what this is, and you want to choose from a conscious awareness. You don't want to choose this subconsciously, because then you'll subconsciously attract like these crazy situations. But that Iranian element, by the full moon, you'll know. By the full moon, but I say even by Monday the 11th, you'll know, because of the Kazemi. Tomorrow goes exact. Kazemi with Mercury goes exact on Saturday. Then Saturday the 9th is the big day. That's the day that you know. And then Sunday, Saturn stations direct. So, starting today, when Pluto goes direct, next week and then the week after that, we're having these planets one by one go direct. And it's just interesting that there's all this retrograde energy at this new moon. It's just very internal. So a lot of this will be what you can make of your situations based off of how conscious you are of your own will, your own desires, your own wants, knowing what you want so that you can direct your energy in a conscious way towards using this judiciously, towards using this energy to progress yourself. All you would really have to do is overcome that cringe element and alchemize that energy into humility, into confidence. Confidence, not like egotistical confidence that comes from a genuine place, from an authentic place. Because that Venus to Pluto, that Venus to Neptune, you should know by now, with Venus at the very end of Scorpio, Venus unearthed a lot, unearthed so much. Mars going through Libra, having gone through Scorpio, and they're also a mutual reception. So Mars is in a Venus ruled sign of Libra, and Venus is in a Mars ruled sign, ancient ruler of Scorpio. So they're not comfortable. There's been parts that have not been comfortable, but you can use these energies and have them sort of meet in the middle and work together to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve. And this particular new moon is extremely, like, it really does make more sense to talk about this sign by sign in the breakdown. But just know that you're ready for this breakthrough. And especially if you were alive September 30th, 1989, if you were alive at that point, you went through something freaking, like, I would say almost traumatic. Like, that could have scarred you in relationships. Like, that could have really, you know what? Thank you. If you were alive at that time, September 30th, 1989, there was this massive T square. There was a break. There was a schism. There was, like, almost like venom, like toxic energy being squeezed out. That could have scarred you guys, or could have been some, okay. But this one today, in the opposition to Chiron, well, what does Chiron speak to? Is that wound that never heals. So for some of you that were alive at that time, this could really speak to that. This what's happening right now could have something to do with what you went through end of September 1989. That had a really big effect on your psyche. So if there's anything that's, like, making you feel vulnerable right now, or making you feel insecure about initiating something or doing something, or needing a partner to do something, having to collaborate with someone else on something, having to share resources with someone else, share money with someone else, share love or intimacy with someone else, it could be traced back to September 30th or end of September, beginning of October of 1989, if you were alive. And so, you know, this is your chance to come around and heal that wound, or heal this wound through doing the thing that intimidates you, through collaborating and coming together and coming to the table. Libra is the best negotiator of the zodiac. So you're a Libra for a couple of, you use that energy in your own natal chart, in your own life, to make the, I would say, make the deal that you want to make, or make the arrangements that you want to make, or make the partnerships you want to make, or negotiate, come to an agreement, come to an understanding. This is the moment to do it. And actually, with Mars being in the opposite sign, being very far from Aries, where he rules, and it's like, and then in this opposition to Chiron, I feel like it's really helpful. I really don't feel like anyone's going to be super overly aggressive, in the sense that it's going to be, like, super violent. Now, I'm talking about just on an individual level. I'm not talking about the mundane astrology, talking about, like, oh my God. But just for a quick sec, I'm not talking about, like, the world here or anything, or the news cycles, but oh my gosh, you guys, this has been the best Mercury retrograde I have ever seen, with the social media blackout stuff. Oh my God. Of course, all of us, like us here, we always know that Mercury retrograde is going to be an iffy time for tech. So we walk into Mercury retrogrades already having everything backed up and, like, ready to go. So, and knowing how to trouble, I had a trouble getting on this live stream, and I already had my troubleshooting list, so that I made it here, and so that we're here together now. So it was just, like, hilarious to see everything. Hey, Bitcoin. So, rally. So it's like, everyone in the spiritual community or the astrological community, we're all just, like, laughing and kind of, like, anyway. So where was it? Oh yeah. Okay. So this is the best time. This is the best time to make amends, send out those apologies, send out those thank you notes. Libra is going to be so big on the thank you note, handwritten thank you for the gift from the graduation party, Christmas, whatever. Not Christmas, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. So this is the time to do it. And I feel like you'll have the insight with Venus having gone through Scorpio and been changed forever. And you're going to get more. There's going to be even more to come up with, because over the next couple of weeks until the full moon in Aries, that full moon in Aries is going to be super gnarly. That's happening Wednesday, the 20th. We're going to come up against some direct motions of the planets. And then we have the sun squaring Pluto. That's going to be a thing. That's the 17th, but I will talk about that later. So yeah, you guys, this new moon is whatever you want to move forward, either in advocating for social justice or justice in your life. You know, you could see an injustice relationship wise or structurally or just anywhere. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb. This is the new moon to correct it. And what you can expect is to, number one, go back to the past, because Mercury's retrograde. So this is the perfect time to closure, or to come back to the table if things got really heated during the Mercury square to Pluto and the Mercury retrograde square to Pluto. This would be a great time to air it all out and fix it. You know, because there was already enough pain and suffering with this Chiron in Aries, and this is a great time to come to the table, because there will be a surprise involved there, and it may make you happy. It may be very happy surprise, but there's change in the air. Like there's change afoot. Like it's not just like we're just going to meet and talk about the past and then that's it. There's a lot of forward momentum, because you're starting something new, not just for the next 2 weeks, not just for the next 6 months, but for the next 2 years. So this energy you're going to be carrying forward and dealing with until November 16th, 2023. So it's a really powerful time for success in litigious situations, for litigation, for negotiations, for coming to the table, so long as you have that conscious awareness of where your wounding is in terms of being fair. Being fair. Because this wounding, if you were alive in September 30th, 1989, could have to do with a lack of fairness, a lack of justice. Do you know what that does to us when that subconscious programming takes place the last trimester in pregnancy and until the first 7 years of life? That's when the subconscious programming happens. Oh my God, I can speak from personal experience that when you suffer, and you guys know this, like we vibe, you guys and I. So you know that when you suffer an injustice as a small child, that it can create that sacred rage within you, and that little you has no concept of that, has no idea, no way to understand what's happening, but you feel it and you know that it's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So this is a great time for therapy. Great time to unpack all of that. Great time to analyze where your either sacred rage or sense of injustice originated from, and how it's created problems in your life today, this year, the past couple years, what have you. This is a great time to heal that. Heal that, where you gave your power away, where you trusted someone and they abused their power and they took advantage of you, and they were not fair, they were not equal, and there was no justice. That, guys, I've had so many problems with authorities. Just trying to make your life easier, and it just causes problems. But when you don't face it, and the way you heal is by feeling these things and letting yourself really feel it, and thinking about it, and thinking about it, and feeling on it, and thinking about it, and feeling on it, and thinking more about it, and feeling on it, and talking about it, and feeling on it. And like, you have to understand it. And no one does that work for you. That's the Hermit card in the tarot, the guy that the lantern at the top of the mountain. And so that's like a personal journey. And this is a great time for that, to analyze, where you feel there has been an injustice and where you feel uncomfortable confronting that and where you feel uncomfortable um, communicating that to another person in a relationship. There could be an awkwardness surrounding even just discussing it. This Libra energy is like that nicey nicey energy where it's like, I'm not gonna tell anyone I'm uncomfortable with this because I don't wanna make waves. I'm just gonna let whatever happen happen and I'm just gonna like cross my fingers, hope for the best. No, no. You're not gonna go and burn the village down because Chiron's in Aries and Mars is in Libra. So there's no worry of like that. Now, and on an individual level, like on a collective level, it's a bit different. But okay, on a collective level, we're probably gonna see a lot of the beginnings of social reform, a lot of big okay, I don't want to get too much in the collective, but um for you personally, this is the time to capitalize on this energy to make it right. Make it right within yourself, like figure out how you feel first. And you have like today, tonight until Venus, and I mean not like you only have till Venus enters Sagittarius tomorrow, but you have like the last critical, intense Venus and Scorpio energy that's like truth. What's the truth? What's your truth? What is your perspective? That's why I say that I said on the weekly on Monday, there's no wrong answer as long as it's authentic and you're really feeling it and that's your experience. That's what I tell people. I say, you feel how you feel. I'm not going to argue your experience. I'm not going to gaslight you, tell you what you're feeling isn't right. That doesn't give justice to the other person. That doesn't hold space to what they're feeling and what they need from me as a listener, what they need from me as a partner, what they need from me as a collaborator. If they just feel invalidated, if I just start rationalizing my position instead of just listening and accepting whatever that feeling is. And we hope that other people do the same for us. Doesn't always happen that way. Trust issues. There's trust issues that you can address here too. And understand if you were alive, I keep saying that, but if you were alive September 30th, 1989, that could either be the origin of some trust issues or a major event, major thing happening at that point for you guys. So, this Mercury retrograde is bringing that element of the past. It's bringing that element of something that needs to be looked at again. It's not a completely new slate. You have to go back to go forward. You have to go through to get out. Was it Winston Churchill that said, if you're going through hell, keep going? Maybe. So, if there is anything uncomfortable, if there is anything that is difficult, you want to lean into that energy. You don't want to run away. It's not the time to run away. You want to use this energy to start a whole new slate for yourself, but on that past issue, because this Mars in Libra is like super uncomfortable. Venus in Scorpio is super uncomfortable. Chiron in Aries opposing the new moon is super uncomfortable. And if you don't like surprises, this in conjunct to Uranus retrograde is going to be super uncomfortable. So you want to be able to roll with it. You want to be able to roll with life and just take people as they are and really try to connect with them instead of project onto them or have these expectations of them. Let them be who they are. Meet them where they're at. It's not up to you to like teach people how to love you and tell people like how to love you. You watch how they love people. You watch how they love you and you decide if you're going to participate or if you're just going to leave or talk to them. Like this is the moon to talk about it. But, if it's too incongruent, if you're too far apart, that's what brought you here. That's what brought you here. Or if it's been really uncomfortable to address, ugly things. Venus rules Libra. This is the stellium in Libra, wants beautiful, nice things. Okay. So like I said, there's this element of like there can be like a social status increase. There's this wanting for harmony, wanting for beauty, wanting for harmony. So, this Mars is working in that realm when they usually just want to burn the village down. They just want to be pushy. That's not the energy. So if anyone's being pushy, oh no. What did I say? But I said this a couple of weeks. I think I said this like weeks ago. Don't try so hard with his Venus and Scorpio, man. Like Venus has been through it with Venus and Scorpio. So going through Scorpio. So in this trine to Neptune, you can, if there's been bad behavior that you see, you can forgive it if you understand it. And then you just decide if, you talk about, this is a great time to talk about it, but then you decide if you're gonna stay or if you're gonna leave or if you're gonna work on this. If you guys are married, this is a company situation. If you have if you run your own business and then you have employees that are like really fighting with each other, one thing I will say about this is let people's karma play out between those people. There can be a wanting with this new moon that you might want to get into other people's situations and try to make peace. You might want to be like, oh no, let me just go talk to them for you. And let me just go talk to them for you. And let me bring you guys together. And no, 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 no. Don't, no, 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 no. The energy does not favor that. Do not get in the middle of anyone else's karma. Whatever is between two people, that is between those two individuals. No one can ever understand anyone else's relationship except those two people that are in that relationship. And even if you see both people as individuals very clearly, you respect that boundary and you let them work that out between those two people. This huge big thing, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay, this energy, this is like peacemaker, negotiator, let's come to the table, let's hold hands, kumbaya. If these people can't work it out, that's their karma, it's their issue. You leave it alone. You leave it alone. If they talk to you, if it's a friend talking to you about their parents or about their brother or whatever, about their niece, their nephew, if your friend comes to you talking about their girlfriend or whatever, you listen, you hold space. You be that mirror for them, but you stay out of it. You don't go talk to the other person. You don't get all up in it, okay? If it's a coworker and you overhear things in the break room, you don't go to the bottom. Leave it alone, because that can blow up in your face the 17th of October. By the 20th. The 20th of October, it's a explosive energy. You appeal to the authority directly. You talk to your people in your life. You manage your own relationships. You're not one half of anybody else. You are an individual. Everyone is an individual. Everyone has their own relationships. So while it might be tempting to see some wounding and want to heal it, or see someone else's relationship and want to get all up in it, don't do it. Guys, I'm giving it to you right now. This is why we have our sessions, is to do this. So, stay out of it. Let people, work it out on their own. And if you yourself are over reliant or codependent on someone else's approval before you go into relationships or before you resolve things with your coworkers or before you talk to your boss, you will need to pull back and get your energies set first. Get yourself, do the internal work yourself first. You don't need another person to figure out how you feel. And you might feel like that with this new moon in Libra. You might have an insecurity. You might not trust your own judgment. You might want to go and get feedback from somebody else. But just know that it's a vulnerability, this independent individual energy. Know that you are an individual, independent soul and an independent spirit. You have your own incarnational cycle. You have your own friggin' matrix code, energetic code. Oh my God. What did they say? DNS, border gateway protocol errors. Oh my God. Hilarious. Okay, sorry. Okay. So I think I drove that point home pretty strong. Because on one hand, yes, you will need another person. You will want to collaborate and work with another, but don't lose yourself in another person either. Everyone's an individual. Everyone's independent. Everyone should feel comfortable doing their own thing and managing their own relationships. Okay, if you really want that, like, outside, um like, get a professional, talk to a therapist, talk to a mentor, talk to a counselor, talk to a life coach, talk to your astrologer or your psychic, talk to someone, where there's that professional boundary. Okay, because when you hire these people, when you hire these, just like doctors and everything, you're equal. You're equal. You have paid this person for their service. They are in service to you, and it's once you that exchange happens, it's equal, and there's boundaries. When you're getting into your friends' business, when you're getting into your sister's business, when you're getting into your kids' okay. It's just I just not with Mercury retrograde, because there's still more information to come to light. You don't even know what you don't know. You'll know Saturday, though. You'll know Saturday. You'll know more and more and more and more and more. So, what someone else is telling you, it's just not, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. You don't have to go far for the answers. You don't have to go far for anything. Everything is it's so near, it's with you, it's inside of you, it's right there. It's just, you don't need that. You don't need it. You are gonna collaborate, you are going to connect with others, you are going to advocate for, what in your mind is judiciousness and the correct, equal, balanced, and that's what it means, impartial judgment, not taking a poll of what your friends think and then just doing that. That doesn't mean it. Just because everyone does the same thing doesn't make it right. Okay, so I feel like that's a healthy way of being both independent and in a connection and like with a partner or with a group or with an association. See, now that fogginess is gone. It's so weird, you guys. It's just so weird. Okay. So anyway, Mercury will go direct on the 18th. Won't get out of the shadow until about November 2nd. The full moon in Aries is October 20th. So tread carefully and lightly the rest of this month on this new moon. Tread very, very lightly, very, very carefully, and cover yourself. Act in your integrity. People are really going to be standing up for their integrity too. That's what I like about this new moon is that, it's like definitely like an overhaul with like forms of systems, relating to justice and relating to equality and fairness. But I just like that it is like a nice reset. But you have to, like I said, you have to go back to the past and feel all of the pain and feel all this stuff out so that you can move forward. And you'll see it through with this trine to Jupiter. You'll have the perspective on the past. And there can be an increase in dignity. There can be an increase in status with this trine to Saturn. You're being mature. You're taking responsibility. And Saturn being retrograde in Aquarius, this is part of you figuring out your people and really reassessing, do I belong here? Guys, there's been so many times in my life where I Forrest Gump my way into a group of people and be like, this is where I belong. And it's not. So, Saturn retrograde, it's that energy where listen, I've talked about this already in so many Saturn videos, but Saturn Aquarius videos, but this is where groups break apart, new groups form, but it's all going to be based off of a shared sense of humanity and a shared sense of authenticity. So the fact that this new moon is trining Saturn is such a great positive aspect, but Saturn's retrograde. All this stuff is retrograde. So it's positive for reassessing, for having that clarity, for taking responsibility for what you are a part of and making sure it's authentic, making sure it's really, really you. Okay? Because Saturn's going to go direct literally in a couple days on Sunday. That's my Saturn going direct dance, apparently. So, I don't see any questions. Drew is 9 months old. Okay, Drew, there was something happening with your parents then. If you were little in 1989, September 30th or the end of September, beginning of October 1989, this was all your parents. There was something going on with the people that were taking care of you, your grandparents, whoever that happened to be. Um, yeah, that's a whole I could go off on on all of that, but I will end I will we will wrap this up here, and I'm going to take this over to the flip side onto Patreon, and we're going to do a 12 sign by sign breakdown, and I will interpret what this means, all my crazy papers, for all the 12 zodiac signs, and we will pull tarot. So the link is in the description box below. Thank you guys for bearing with me through. It's just been weird, and I guess it's, it's just like this weird, just like a fog, and it's just been strange. It's very strange Mercury retrograde. So I love you guys so much. Take really good care. I hope that this has been so helpful for you, and that you guys got a lot out of this, and that you still have some confidence moving forward. Remember to wait for the information to come through before making any like big. Okay, one last thing. Don't get caught up in analysis paralysis with this Libra new moon. That last little itty bitty little thing, because you don't want to keep waiting for information when you have all the information. But how do you know when you have all the information? You have to learn to trust yourself. It's going to feel insecure and a little cringy, and you'll want to over lean on all these other people. No. Okay. I love you guys. Take care. And until next time, dearies. And after this, I'll take a little break, and then I'll do our weekly. So until then, many, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings. Mwah.